This is the front section of the crankcase. In it we have the cylinder, and we have the right portion, which is right here, right side of the crankshaft, and we have the left side, which comes out here. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like with a new crankshaft. I'm just going to show you what the crankshaft does. It will not be in actual position. The bearings, as you can see, there's one on the right, one on the left. They fit in these silver channels, and they're called bearing races. There is half of a bearing race on one side of the cylinder, one side of the crankcase, and there's the other part of the bearing races on the other, which go above here. Now, bearing races are and they aren't. I don't know if you've ever heard this. Bearing races, what they mean is that these are the little areas right here where the bearing races around. Okay? But that's not completely true, because only part of the bearing races around. And I'll tell you what I mean. The outer part of the bearing is always stationary, like it will not move. As you watch, okay, watch. The outer part, this part right here, is not supposed to move at all. Only the inner bearing moves, the one that's connected to the shaft right here. Now, when someone says, "Oh, I think I have a spun bearing," what they mean is that the inner part right here has frozen, and the crankshaft is moving this whole part right here, which it's not supposed to do. And you can tell if you have a crankshaft that has spun bearings, because it takes a hell of a lot of energy to move this whole bearing around in a circle, because the inside is frozen. And what happens is it heats up the engine very, very quickly. You can see that. You can see how that goes, how the bearing races. It races around and around and around. And of course, this arm right here is actually, it's the wrong way. It should go face down into the cylinder, which it will in time. But that's what bearing races mean on that. We'll put that over there. That's a brand new crank. The way they do the crank, it's different than most crankshafts. Most crankshafts you can buy a set of bearings for. You can't on this one. You can only buy one. Because what they do here is first of all, they put on this left bearing, and then they press on this gear. This gear runs your water pump and also your timing chain. And it can't be taken off. Well, it probably could be taken off, but it's not meant to be taken off. This side is where your rotor is, and on this side of the crank is your variator. And of course, our engine's right in between. Our next video series, we're going to take the head right here with the valves that are already in it, and let's see if I can get my little flashlight to work here. The biggest failure of these engines is right down this port right here, which was totally clogged. This is a pin, a gun cleaning pin right here that I use, and I'm going to use this and the flashlight to show you. Exhaust runs up this. It runs from the exhaust chamber, which is right here. When you turn your bike off, the exhaust that's in this chamber it can't go back into the cylinder because the way is closed. But there is a small, very small port, which is right here. And you can see where there's an O-ring that goes right there. And what it is, let's see if I can do this with the camera. If you look down in here, you can see the little needle, and you can also see the part of the valve. Let's see, right there, the exhaust valve. But when that exhaust port is closed, the exhaust gas comes. This is after the motor shut off. It comes up this little tiny port right here, through here, into a one-way valve, and then it's transferred back into your air cleaner, which is, well, I don't want to twist around and do it, but that's what that does. Now this was the first engine, Series 1 engine. Okay, let's see, next video.